Welcome to the Emotional Endurance Movement, the only mental health comedy game show that's asking you, how are you coping? I am your host, Laurie Sharp-Page. I am so excited that you have joined us today. I am happy to report that we are 89 members strong, and we stayed mostly regulated over the past week. In fact, 72% of us report staying mostly regulated, 18% say the regulation was mixed, and 10% owned that they were dysregulated this week. And I mean, I'm cheering y'all on because it is a dysregulating world, and we are all just trying to figure out how to regulate in it. I want to go ahead and introduce our contestants. Our first perennial contestant is our behaviorist at large, our emotional endurance expert, and our unapologetic lover of Rice Krispie treats. This is Crimson McDonald. Hi, Crimson. Welcome to the Emotional Endurance Movement. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom, your insight, and your mess with us today.
No problem. Here for it.
Our other perennial contestant is you, the poll at home, our weekly poll that tells us how you're doing, what you're coping with, how you're feeling, and, some other bits and pieces that help us all make more sense out of this dysregulating world. The insight of the week we're going to start off with today is from actually Sophia Bush. Sophia Bush, the actress. And she says, and I really like this one, and I think it goes well with what we're going to talk about today. She says that you can be both a masterpiece and a work in progress. Thoughts on that, Crimson?
I mean, I love that because being content with who you are is vital. And you should love yourself as a masterpiece, but that doesn't mean you can't get better. I mean, think of what
Absolutely.
Michelangelo could have done if he just hung upside down from that cathedral for another year. There'd be one hell of a masterpiece more.
Absolutely. I love that insight because I do think that dualism lives in both of us. And that dualism lives in all of us of I'm so perfect and so equipped and ready to show up for the world, and I'm still learning how, and I am imperfect, and I still get dysregulated. All of those things. I love that dualism. We all need to allow ourselves to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress. Our feeling of the week is a good one. It is proud. The feeling of being proud. What do you think the definition of proud is, Crimson?
Oh, if I had to guess, it would be the sensation of accomplishment, or I don't know. I have no idea what the definition
Well,
would
you're
be.
really close. It's a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction as a result of one's own achievements, qualities, or possessions. But we're going to throw the possession one out the window for today because we're really focusing on how you feel about yourself. When we have the feeling of pride or proud, there's that tense issue with this one. Sometimes words are like that.
Yeah.
A little challenging. But when we think about the feeling of proud, it's really effort plus integrity plus reflection.
True.
That's what helps us to connect with feeling proud. So what are you proud of this week?
I am proud of my son. He has not had his dominant hand. Like, the kid can't even wipe his own ass. He has a mom that's been dysregulated over his math and other grades. He got sick right before finals week, and it's kind of been a crap shoot. I just found out that he got a B on his final, which, I mean, a B is not typically like, yay. It should be an A, but in this case, yay. I am so proud of him. So I am proud of him for having the endurance to get through this last stretch of 7th grade finals.
We asked our community this last week if feeling of proud was chartered or unchartered territory. And 73% said that you're familiar with feeling proud, which I'm so glad to hear because you all deserve to be very proud of yourself and the work that you're doing because it's not easy and it can also feel very isolating and alone. Now, we do have 27% of you who say that you are not super familiar with the feeling of being proud. And I hope that you can find more pride in yourself, in the little things over this season, so you can start to connect with that emotion a little bit more because it is an important emotion. And it is one that helps to give us a lot of motivation and meaning, I find. It really can be one that can fill up our cup quite greatly. Don't you agree?
I totally agree.
We also asked our community the top 10 things that trigger the feeling of the week. So in this week, the top 10 things that trigger the feeling of being proud. So what do you think those were, Crimson? What do you think are the top 10 triggers for feeling proud or pride?
Outside of just accomplishing a goal, like specific goals.
I think that it can really be anything, but most of what our community talked about was specific things that they did that made them feel.
I could see someone being proud for launching a project like at work, like some kind of work
Absolutely.
milestone, some big thing that comes to a head and you deal with. I think people are probably proud when they get to see the fruits of their labor, a little bit of pride when you put a good meal on the table. Like
For sure.
cooking a big hosting or
Yeah.
cooking a, I don't know, what did our members?
So there's some really good ones. So the number 10 one was not giving up. And I think that is the realistic level set that we all need. If you have not given up, if you continue to show up, I hope that you do feel proud for this feeling. Because I think a lot of us this season are in situations where there's challenging things at our doorstep that we're trying to figure out and to negotiate. And by not giving up, by continuing to show up, that is something to be hella proud of. This one's good. The number 9 one was choosing rest.
Oh, good for people.
Yeah.
I still feel shame when I choose rest.
I think a lot of people do. So I love to see that on this list from our community. It shows me that people are really starting to think about this a little bit differently and to take care of themselves a little bit. This one is kind of like what you were saying at the beginning. Number 8 is making quiet progress, right? So like you haven't necessarily had the big launch party or gotten the big client yet, but you're still chipping away at things, figuring out how are we going to make it work, not giving up.
Yeah.
And you feel really proud about that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this is a great one. And this definitely comes up over the holidays. Handling a hard conversation.
I mean, I was going to say not freaking out on family.
Yeah.
I was trying to.
Handling a hard conversation is another way to say that, for sure.
No, definitely. I think that's a really challenging thing. Now that I'm old, I realize how I never gave credit to that skill that I have.
Right.
You know me. I'm the queen of sitting in discomfort. I kind of get a weird boost from discomfort in certain ways. And so I've never really, hard conversations don't really trigger me like other people in a bad way. But I'm glad that other people are starting to have them. And when they do it, they're proud because I hope that reinforces their self-efficacy to continue doing it because progress in any aspect of your life requires hard conversations.
People will change their entire lives to avoid having a difficult conversation.
Oh, yeah.
That is something that happens over and over and over. So that is definitely something to be proud of. And I am so proud of you for having those conversations. And the next two, oh my gosh, the next two also, they're kind of like the choosing rest. These tell me that people are really starting to kind of think about these things a little bit different. So number 6 is asking for help. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very proud of you to ask for help. I do a lot of work with my young kids around asking for help around that because I feel like it's one of the key skills.
Tell me more about that
because
because I feel like when I had a 5-year-old, the goal was to ask for less help.
Oh, well, I mean, like it's the asking part that we're really working on right now versus just screaming and demanding that you get your way right now.
I keep telling my daughter, like, if you need to find something, you ask. But the next reaction isn't like 15-second pause and then freak out, flop you on the floor.
It is hard when you're working on your own regulation and you have the dysregulation of children, which is developmentally appropriate. Happening all around you. It adds an additional layer to this work. So for sure. But asking for help, there's a lot of adults that refuse to ask for help and it ends up being a really self-sabotaging loop. And ask me how I know on that one.
Well, I remember I will give a call out. I don't know if she'd want me to, but my friend Pam, there's many Pams in this world. But I remember I was like feeling down. This was like in the midst of the pandemic or coming out of it. And as you know, we don't really have family and we were feeling really alone. And I said something about being all alone. And she was like, bitch, you just don't ask for help. And it made me realize how I was choosing to be like this victim of no resources. Meanwhile, I'm very blessed to have like an army of people that will help. And so I do
Yeah.
think that if I had to define one thing I did well in 2025 that I have never done in my entire life was I asked for help. I learned how to do it more. And it's nice. Yeah, it's ask for help. People usually don't really care.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
I'm so glad to hear that resonated with you and it resonated with our community. And the next one is no surprise. It's the whole reason why we have a mental health comedy game show. It's because we want people to take care of their mental health. So number 5 is people are proud because they're taking care of their mental health. And that's what keeps us here.
It does.
Doing this work. We want to support people to do that. The next one up is similar vein, showing up.
I get that.
Right?
Yes. It is
Yes.
so hard sometimes to just show up. And as you age, you realize how much of life is just showing up.
Just showing up, that consistency, showing up, being there, being present. And it takes a lot of energy to do that. That's why we have to fill up our cups. A lot of this idea around cups has been like, oh, it's just like a woo-woo, touchy-feely thing. Like, no, this is capacity science.
Yeah.
That is what we are here to teach you, is how to build and manage your capacity so that you can deal with all this stuff, because we have to keep showing up. And this leads into number 3, which is another one that kind of gives me tingles, like, to hear people say this. They're proud because they're not reacting like they were before.
Well, this gets into that
That's
responsive versus reactive space that we talk about so much.
Yeah. People are starting to change how they're responding. And this one, I'm glad to see it here as the leader. It's also humbling to see it here because this is something that I'm working on.
Yeah.
This week, I have been reacting the way I used to. And I'm really trying to adjust that because it gets in the way of having quality time with the people I love.
I've been really reactive this week because I have been so busy with the mad dash of holidays.
Oh, God. Were we the 10% that were dysregulated?
I think we were the 10%.
Oh, we could have been that 10%. So that 10% that's out there, you're not alone. But this is something I would like to come back next week and tell you that I am proud that I'm not reacting.
Yeah, I hope. Especially with the holidays, that would be a bummer.
Yeah, if there's ever been a great time for interrupting poor family patterns and generational trauma, it's really around the Christmas tree, don't you think?
Yeah, it's really great to tell everyone that while you process difficult environments, stay regulated.
What if my family came down for Christmas and instead of there being presents, I had laid out my entire living room for a full day family therapy intensive? I had the clipboard.
There was a show, Intervention. You could model it after that show, but instead of it being drugs or some kind of addiction, it could be just drama.
Just drama.
Yeah.
Family Christmas Intervention Extreme Edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me know if anybody's interested in producing that. I've got the crew. All right, moving on. Related, setting a boundary. Something to be proud of, setting a boundary. A lot of times we wait a long time to set a boundary.
And I do feel like that's something you're seeing more and more of in the discussion. Boundaries have been talked about for a long time, but now, sadly, a lot of what you're seeing in the discussion is the consequences of boundaries. And so
I do think we're at that place where it's not just about setting them anymore. It's about managing them and continuing to implement them.
Well, you have to manage the discomfort. This is our first holiday where our boundaries were respected. We made it clear that we love our family, but we have established traditions and we weren't going to change them because of new people's desires and needs. And it was hard to put that boundary. We love these people. We want to see them.
Right.
But we also are trying to build healthier traditions than what we came up in. And we're trying to make sure that they're in environments where they don't only feel loved, but kind of feel like the center of attention. That Christmas is
Yeah.
about us and not about meeting a bunch of people's expectations of checking the box. So it was, Thanksgiving was hard because it was like, oh, wait, we're finally to where the boundaries don't cause as much conflict. But we also didn't get an invite. And we had to sit in that discomfort. And it was hard, but it was the right kind of hard. It was easier than sitting at a table that you don't feel welcomed at, or that
For sure.
isn't in line with the values that you're trying to set for your children. Yeah,
sure.
sitting in the discomfort of setting boundaries. So be proud of setting them, because you need that pride to push you through the hangover of it.
And to motivate you to maintain them.
Yes.
Because that is a hard part, you know. But yeah, absolutely something to be proud of. And then the number one was, and oh, I feel this in my bones, getting through a hard week. God. The vibes the last 2 weeks have been intense. I don't know how to describe it better than that. The TikTok astrologers sure do. But that's for you and your FYP. It's been challenging. I mean, it's just been kind of hit after hit after hit on my end. I know it gets hard when I start to hear the voice in my head that's going like, wow, you're really staying regulated. And it's like, there is pride in there. There's also a little bit of disbelief,
Yeah.
you know? But that is what practicing emotional endurance has really brought me, is that extra space in that reactivity. Although I said I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it in areas. We'll always be working on it. It's a lot to learn how to cope with this world.
And at different times, you're better at coping with different things. Part of
Yeah.
you's depleted, right? I mean, it's when you're not feeling confident and your efficacy is low, it's really hard to have hope that you can make it to the next day. A long week. I take one medication every day, but I still, like, I got a pill counter. I always forget if I take my medicine. It's just like for heartburn, so it's not like a huge deal. And so I started using it. And yesterday, I opened up Friday, and I realized it was only Thursday. And I like had to look at my phone. I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, I am declaring today Friday, but you can't really do that. But today is Friday.
Now we're going to move into the reps, the way we actually build emotional endurance. Don't worry, these are quick, easy sets you can play along at home. And Crimson, in all of her wisdom, has agreed to be the guinea pig for showing you how it is done. So our first mini game, we are going to play Crimson's favorite. We're going to play ... yacht Christmas edition. Yes.
Oh, Laurie and her positivity.
Okay. ... yacht stands for you also could have thought. So this is a more negative thought, and you are going to transform it.
But this is
More
like
helpful thought.
This is an injustice to my personality, because I feel like I have the ability to catastrophize very well. I think I should have been scripted with the scenarios, but okay.
So this is
Miss Positivity,
this is why
hit
we're
Miss
practicing
Negativity.
it. This is why we're practicing it, because you are very
As
good
we
at
would say it.
catastrophizing. We all are. Most of us are. We're going to practice on decatastrophizing. Is that the right? Well, anyway, all right. I'm going to give you the sentence.
Let's try this.
And then you're going to reframe, all right? You got this, girl.
Oh,
you
God.
can do the ... yacht.
Go for it.
No one's going to put anything in my stocking for the third year in a row.
What if your kids go and make you adorable, handmade, useless stuff and put it in your stocking and surprise you?
Sounds much better to me.
Sounds unlikely, but it's a good reframe.
The catastrophe versus what could happen. That is the yacht part of this. No one is going to eat the fondue that I brought, and they're all going to hate me. because I brought fondue.
Oh, the reframe on that is the fondue is going to be a hit and they're going to love you. And then you're going to be talked into hosting a fondue party. And the next thing you know, you're going to have like 10 fondue pots for this quarterly fondue party and you're going to run out of things to melt. Do you like how I get a little bit of negativity into my reframes? I'm on brand. I'm on brand
realness
today.
to it. Okay. All right. Okay. Everything is a flaming pile of poop. And 2026 is not going to get any better. Yeah.
So what was it again? I think of like a good.
Everything is a flaming pile
two-pronged.
of poop. 2026 will be the same.
Sometimes you got to burn the poop to cleanse the palate.
It is 2026 the year that will cleanse the palate.
Maybe the poop has been burning for so long that the poop will stop burning.
Maybe the poop will give us a little extra warmth.
Or maybe it'll fertilize our crops and we'll have like a fantastic spring.
Love it. Love it.
When I think of ... yacht, I like to think of it because I'm always like, what if it's cancer? What if it's... And I think it was you that said once, like, well, like, what if you win the lottery?
Yeah.
Like, why don't... And I think that's really what I've learned from ... yacht. It's like, I am so good at thinking worst case scenario. And versus reframing, like in the way we just did, a lot of the times when I get there, because mine are usually so ridiculous. Like yours are very practical day to day. But a lot of times I'm like, oh my God, my kid has a headache. What if he has a brain tumor? Well, what if he becomes a NASA scientist? Like I have just as much evidence to think that. And so I think for me, since I think it's such extremes, the ... yacht reframe is really funny because it's like, what if it's cancer? What if I become a millionaire? They're both just as like unknown and vague and nebulous. And so I realize in that moment I'm choosing to focus on the what ifs on the negative. And so yacht has helped me.
My God, I can't believe I'm hearing you say that. Welcome to the reframe game, where I give you the negative thoughts and you reframe it to be more positive or at least more neutral. We will also accept neutral responses.
Well, good thing, because when you score my emotional endurance inventory, optimism is not my high one.
But you're working on it, right?
I am. So challenge me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to reframe, all right? You got this, girl. I didn't do enough for Christmas this year.
Oh, I'm so negative. This is a very interesting exercise. I didn't do enough for Christmas this year. Reframe. All of mine are negative.
You put
Mine's
it,
like,
you could do
but
it.
the economy. But, okay. I did a really good job of sustaining boundaries and making decisions to protect my energy at the consequences of everyone else's Christmas sucking.
No qualifiers.
Okay.
No
But that could be a reframe, right?
It was a good reframe. It was a good reframe. Okay. All right. Okay.
I didn't make you proud.
You made me so proud. You made me so proud because you didn't immediately log off and run away. Everyone else is handling this better than me.
Everyone else is handling this better than me. Reframe. I may not be doing as much as I want. I may not be doing as much. I'm doing the best I can. I mean, that's really the reframe.
Hell
right?
yeah. All right. You ready for the last one?
Yeah.
I'm behind for next year.
I mean, you ain't getting nothing but truth out of this one. You're always behind. You ain't never getting ahead. So I guess the reframe on that is you have a whole year to catch up. That means 2-1 to you. I mean, let me see. Let me think of one for you to reframe. You're better at this. Oh, what's a good one? I'm gonna die. No, you don't like that one. Okay.
No, I'll do it. I'll die. You ready for it? You're not going to like it.
Yeah.
But you ready for it?
Yeah.
Death is part of the duality of life. In order to make space for life, we also have to make space for death. That doesn't mean I don't have to like it. I don't have to not be scared of it. I am definitely scared of it. Always have been. I've got that weird like existential anxiety that's just always chilling. And I can work to find ways to make it less disruptive to me. That's more for me personally. We're going to move into our next game, which is, it's one of your favorites, Crimson.
Which one is this?
Helpful or toxically positive?
Oh my God. So toxic positivity, I didn't have a word for it back in those days. So I started a Tumblr account called shittycorporateart.com because you would go to all these offices and it'd be like, be the radiator, not the drain. People have climbed Mount Everest. I mean, forget the people that died. I don't know. Like, it drove me crazy. I couldn't handle it. So I started, because I was working in downtown. I was always in corporate offices. So I started grabbing pictures and I would put them on my Tumblr account of shitty corporate art. But it was all stemming from what I didn't have the words for, which is toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Like, if you got to fill your room with that, like, there's a foundational issue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think poster boards are going to work for managing corporate culture. And if that is the only tool in your toolkit, I think you will be disappointed. So I'm gonna throw you some of these, and you're gonna tell me whether or not you think they're helpful or toxically positive. All right, first up, just focus on the good.
Absolutely unhelpful. Unhelpful. I would say this is a great opportunity for reframe. Focus on what you can be grateful for.
Ooh.
Gratitude.
Ooh.
I think gratitude is the pivot. But what can be good? Some things there aren't good. I'm sorry. Not every situation, at least in the moment, right? You're going to see the good.
Yeah.
And so I would say that that's toxic to tell people, well, look for the good. I think more so, look at what you have to be grateful for. Focus on, pivot your brain to the good stuff, which is focus on the good, but don't say it that way. You just don't. And focusing on the good is very different than being grateful.
Yes.
Because a lot of times there isn't good.
Yeah.
But if you are in a hard moment saying, okay, I am grateful, at least I don't have the flu right now.
Yeah.
At least I'm not managing this obstacle with the flu. Like, there are ways to be grateful for things that aren't really good in the moment. To be grateful, I think, would be a better way.
Absolutely. I like that. I really like that. That's really good. All right, here's another one for you. Don't be sad. It's the holidays.
Toxic. The date on the calendar doesn't dictate my heart. I mean, it does make it sadder when you're sad at the holidays because you miss out on the joy that the season can bring. But no, don't be sad. It's the holidays. No. Again, be thankful it's the holidays and you have some space to be sad.
There you go. We got to always validate the feeling, right? The feeling's not the problem. It is just the response. Yeah. Just make nice with them and get over it.
That is beyond toxic for so many reasons. And I'm trying to decide, like, at what level I unpack this at. But
there's never pressure to unpack. Never pressure to unpack. So don't feel like you have to.
I would just say that, no, you don't get over anything until there's accountability. Period.
But do you think that accountability can come within yourself, like your own decision?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to boundaries. I think that, especially, I mean, let's just be honest, we're in our 40s and our parents are all getting old. There's a reality that if you have an 80-year-old parent, they aren't going to change. The only thing that you can change is you. And so you're right. The accountability is you being accountable. I need to protect my feelings and understand that I can't change this person. So yes, I think accountability can come internally, but there needs to be a reconciliation born from accountability.
Right. That
Otherwise,
takes
it's
time. I
toxic.
mean, a lot of people will tell you to get over something or to forgive something because it's somewhat inconveniencing to them. Brings up
Absolutely.
their own stuff or whatever it may be. I'm just saying that other people have agendas in this area, and that's not bad. But I think one thing that we can do for ourselves and for each other is to try and take the pressure off of saying, like, healing has to happen in this timeline, because none of us have that answer. Healing happens as it happens.
Nope.
All right, move into our last section of this segment, which is the coping skill of the week. So the coping skill of the week is name the win and hold space for it. So this is all aligned with baby steps and how we encourage you to look at progress with your mental health. I'm going to ask Crimson here what's one small win she took from this week, and then I'm going to set the timer for 15 seconds to make sure that she does not add a qualifier, because we are just going to name the win and hold it. So, Crimson, name the win.
I went out 4 nights in a row and I don't feel depleted.
All right, timer.
I had 4 Christmas parties and I don't feel completely done. I'm ready for the holidays.
5 more seconds. No qualifiers needed.
No, I'm gonna be positive for once, Laurie.
Hey, Crimson, name the win. I hope you were able to name your win and not add a qualifier on it, because you deserve to celebrate all the little progress that you're making. And it is easy to lose sight of if we don't take the time to name the win and hold space for it. We're going to move into our reflection section. So I want you to take a minute and look over our feelings wheel. And when you're ready, go ahead and drop a pen on the feeling you're feeling right now. And Crimson, when you're ready, you can share with us where you are dropping your pen.
I'm in the happy wheelhouse, which is very rare.
Ooh.
But a lot of these are negative.
We have
And
evolved more negative feelings because our brain is meant to protect us than positive ones. So do keep that in mind, that there's a natural kind of lack of balance in that. Yeah.
But I'm feeling thankful.
Awesome. Wonderful.
I'm so happy that this week is over and it's Christmas break.
Awesome.
I'm thankful, and it brings me peace and it makes me happy.
That is wonderful. I am so glad to hear you say that. And here is where our audience placed their pins this week. If you could see, there's actually a lot of people around gratitude with you and happiness. I do think a lot of people are feeling the holiday season, and we also have people feeling not so great this week. And all of it's okay. It's allowed. It's expected. And whatever feeling you dropped your pin at this week, let's just take a minute here to spend a little bit of time with it so that we can help you learn how to cope more effectively with it. So my first question is this feeling where you dropped your pin, is it chartered or unchartered territory for you? Is it a place that you've spent a lot of time, Crimson, or is it somewhat new and different or unexpected?
I would say it's chartered.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get this way right before Christmas break or breaks, time off.
I also know you to be a very grateful person. You will spend a lot of time on here talking about how you are not naturally an optimistic person, which is okay. But I've also always known you to be a very grateful person. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that this is somewhat chartered territory for you. And most of our audience is feeling like they're in chartered territory this week, with 58% saying that they feel like they're dealing with things that are chartered and 42% saying that they're in uncharted waters. Wherever you are, just remember you can cope through this, whatever it is, whether it's something positive like what Crimson's saying and making sure that you have the time and the space to be grateful and to enjoy that presence over this nice upcoming break, Or if you're dealing with something like grief, which can be very isolating over the holiday period and honestly is like the most of uncharted territories, please know that that is important. It's meaningful. And I know it is uncomfortable, but you can learn how to work through it, move through it, and make it a part of your life, not your entire life. Because that's really the goal here, right? We're trying to create capacity and our emotional bandwidth so that our feelings and our reactions to stress don't become the whole story, just a piece of the story, right?
Right.
So with that being said, we also asked our audience, are we wanting to stay in this feeling this next week? Are we wanting to shift out of it, or are we not sure? And so Crimson, for you, stay, shift, not sure. What do you want from this week with this feeling?
I would love to stay in this.
Yeah,
I'm rarely in
awesome.
that spectrum.
That is wonderful. Most of our audience, over 40%, are saying that they would like to stay with the feeling, which makes sense because, again, a large number of you are reporting positive feelings this week and feelings of gratitude and connection. And it totally makes sense. We've built in this time and space in our culture. There's a lot that can be said about the holidays, but one of the most important things is it is a time when we kind of suggest, at least to people, that it's great to slow down and to spend some time with the people that you really love. And our relationships are a key part of what keep us well, keep us functioning, and keep our cup full to keep regulating with whatever 2026 brings. And it may be a little bit of a doozy. Yeah, it may be. It may be. All right. So then the last question we have is, what are you going to do to make that happen for you? What's your next steps to either shift or stay in that emotion? And if you don't know how to answer those questions, that's totally okay. But you should come over and visit us at Cope 365 because the emotional endurance movement is really here to help you pay attention to your mental health in a fun way. And Cope 365 is going to help you to learn how to cope with intention, to bring in the skills and the tools and the resources and support that you need to stay regulated in a dysregulating world. This has been our episode of the Emotional Endurance Movement. Thank you so much, Crimson, for joining us and being so authentic and vulnerable and wise and hilarious. And thank you so much to those of you who participated in the survey this week. I hope that you will come and participate again with us next week. And we have more than 89 people in the movement. We're always looking to grow. If you want to make sure that your voice is a part of the emotional endurance movement and the only mental health comedy game show available in a weekly serialized format, make sure to like, subscribe, join our newsletter, and fill out our weekly survey. Your voice in this conversation matters. We want to bring it to the table. We want to see how you're doing, and we want to learn how you're doing it. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode, and we look forward to seeing you back next week.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. The insight of the week we're going to start off with today is from actually Sophia Bush. Sophia Bush, the actress. And she says, and I really like this one, and I think it goes well with what we're going to talk about today. She says that you can be both a masterpiece and a work in progress. Thoughts on that, Crimson?
I mean, I love that because being content with who you are is vital. And you should love yourself as a masterpiece, but that doesn't mean you can't get better. I mean, think of what
Absolutely.
Michelangelo could have done if he just hung upside down from that cathedral for another year. They'd be one hell of a masterpiece more.
Absolutely. I love that insight because I do think that dualism lives in both of, and like that dualism lives in all of us of like, I'm so perfect and so equipped and ready to show up for the world, and I'm still learning how. And I am imperfect, and I still get dysregulated. All of those things. I love that dualism. We all need to allow ourselves to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress.